So hello and welcome everyone. Very happy that you are all here with me. I am Bante Warapanyo and this is the Monk Life Sangha, heavily influenced Buddhist mindfulness meditation community, although you don't have to be a Buddhist to be here or even be interested in Buddhism to be here. We are, by most definitions of the word, a Sangha, so a community of well-minded practitioners that are relying on and making use of the teachings of the Buddha to varying degrees. So for me, fully in what I eat, where I live, the relationships that I keep, the beliefs that I hold, everything that I do is concerned with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the Buddhist community. And to that effect, I want to thank all of the donors and supporters, not just people who make a monetary offering, but also people who volunteer here, our caretakers, also, and maybe most especially, the practitioners who are here, our meditators, our studiers, people who are really investing their life in the practice. This is a really great offering. You know, we can say the greatest offering we can give is to practice according to the teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, or as wise as we can get to practice according to those teachings and to live in that way, to live a virtuous life, a meditative life, to embody wisdom and to share it with others. This is the greatest offering that we can give. We can say that this space and this community is all about making that offering together in a large variety of ways, in a limitless variety of ways. So I'm happy you are all here together with me. Our itinerary for this evening, this afternoon, this day, this present moment experience is that we're actually going to have more of a, what we can call kind of like a ceremony. And Buddhism is not quite like Christianity. I don't know about Islam, but it's not quite like Christianity in that to become a Buddhist is not necessarily a matter of belief or a baptism or even a particular ritual. It's more that you start to make use of and practice the teachings of the Buddha and meditation and, you know, emphasizing to live virtuously. But if there were to be a defining factor of, you know, are you a Buddhist or not, it would be, have you taken refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and are you following precept? Right, that would be the gold standard of if you are, you know, consider yourself a Buddhist or not. So, as a part of the Buddhist community, I get to tune in and experience that we are regularly practicing this. So, even for people who are monks or nuns or long-term Buddhist people, you know, kind of born Buddhist, they are having a ceremony or having an event with the monks, who are kind of like the full-time professional Buddhists, if you will, to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and to receive the precepts from the monks. And we are going to do a certain kind of ceremony like that today. It's not too involved, it's not too difficult, it's very much a matter of the heart, the mind, and a little bit of call and response. Yeah. So before we do that, I'll give just a short talk, some short points about what this means, right? What the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha can mean, how we can understand it, and also what the 5 precepts are, right? These 5 vows or these 5 commitments for virtuous living that we make, what are they? I'll go into that a little bit. After the talk and the ceremony, we will then have open space for Dharma exchange. So especially for the people who are here in Discord, some time to ask a question, either to me or to the group, or to share a point of inquiry, or to share an experience with the group, and we can have this period of time for Dharma exchange, wisdom exchange, experience exchange. Okay, so I hope that sounds lovely for everyone. We will begin with 3 sounds of the bell. So as you hear the bell, you can feel invited to be mindful. You can feel invited to be here in the present moment. And we can listen to the sound of the bell as if it is the roaring thunder of not someone, not something, not some place, not some time, but just ever new impermanent nature, just the sound of the truth, and to listen to it in such a way. And for those who may be in a position of less understanding about what's going on or what we are doing, just listen to the sound of the bell, just be here and learn through your experience, not through thinking. Let's start with 3 sounds of the bell. Okay, I'll start by chanting Namo Tassa, paying homage to the Buddha. Everyone can join their hands together with me, and if you know the words, you can also chant along with me. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay. So Namo Tassa is referring to the Buddha, lifting up the Buddha and venerating and showing like the greatest reverence, the greatest respect, the greatest appreciation to the Buddha. Who is the Buddha? What is the Buddha? The Buddha is your enlightened nature. The Buddha is your enlightened mind. But if this notion is somewhat selfish in nature, or something that you can grasp onto, something that you attach to, something that's about yourself, they're not getting the point. So when we venerate the Buddha, and when we take refuge in the Buddha, we are not only taking refuge in the potentiality to realize the Buddha mind within oneself, which is not a matter of the self, it is not a matter of you or the ego, but it is this potentiality for you to realize, for the Buddha mind to be realized or recognized. It is also to consider the possibility that this is not a vague notion of spirituality, but that Siddhartha Gautama, 2,500, 3,000 years ago, this monk in ancient India sat under the Bodhi tree, left his left their life behind to endeavor to find the truth and to find freedom. And Siddhartha Gautama sat under the Bodhi tree and became the Buddha, became enlightened, became free. 100%, full stop. So this gives us, taking refuge in the historical Buddha, it's a physical representation, it's a material representation of that true potentiality to become enlightened, that true potentiality to recognize the self-nature or the no-self nature or the freedom nature. So all of the Buddha statues, all of the Buddha images and the archetypes of the Buddha are in this vein, this golden vein of the Buddha's original enlightenment, this self-enlightenment, found out for himself, for themselves, became enlightened. Okay? So when we take refuge in the Buddha, we take refuge, yes, in that Buddha mind, that Buddha potentiality, but we also take refuge, we put trust in the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, who achieved enlightenment. Okay. And these robes are representing that. The Buddhist monks and nuns who wear the robes and shave the head are representing this lineage, this tradition stemming from the Buddha's original enlightenment. So in that sense, as a monk, the robe and the identity is less about me as an individual and is more about the Buddha, the potentiality to enlighten. And so when we see the people in the Buddhist countries or cultural Buddhists giving this kind of great respect and almost worship to the monks, sometimes they like this monk or they believe in this monk, etc. But it's actually what these robes represent, which is the enlightenment of the Buddha, the enlightenment of Siddhartha Gautama, and yes, the potentiality to become enlightened, rather than the individual. So we take refuge in the Buddha. Secondly, we have the Dhamma, and the Dhamma is maybe the most easy to understand. Well, they're all easy to understand, just like an emerald is easy to understand, a diamond is easy to understand, a ruby, a sapphire is easy to understand. Maybe that's why everybody likes them, enjoys them, right? The Dhamma is the Buddhist teachings. The Dhamma is the ultimate wisdom teachings. The Dhamma is the skillful ways and means of ending suffering. Simple as that. And as someone who has researched and looked into spiritual traditions and spiritual teachers and philosophies here and there, as I think any respectable Western Buddhist or someone who's taking refuge in the Dhamma has looked into other traditions and other philosophies and has seen that there's something special here in Buddhism, right? There's something unique. There's something uniquely skillful and direct and workable here. Not that the other traditions don't have that, but that Buddhism in particular has quite a direct route for understanding and for transformation of suffering. So that's taking refuge in the Dhamma, taking refuge in the Buddhist wisdom teachings. And look, you can pick your poison. Buddhism is the preeminent Eastern philosophy. Okay, we're talking about thousands of years, hundreds and hundreds of years of poetry, schools of philosophy under the umbrella of Buddhism, great philosophers and teachers. So you find what works for you, and that's what you make use of. So that's one aspect of the Dhamma. The second aspect is all phenomena that are the reminders, the pointers to come home. Right? All phenomena are Dhammas. All phenomena are Dhamma doors. All aspects of present moment experiencing, whether it's mental phenomena or physical phenomena, are access points to total and complete realization, recognition of the Buddha mind. okay, of freedom. So that's taking refuge in the Dhamma. Finally, we take refuge in the Sangha. And this is a part that is maybe a triple side, whereas the last two have two sides. So originally, the Sangha is the enlightened people, the enlightened monks under the Buddha, the ones who achieved enlightenment, the Arahats. So that's the original Sangha. So we take refuge in the enlightened ones. And from my experience, there's quite a few quite enlightened people running around, Arahats, and we all have that nature, right? Secondly, it is the community of Buddhist monks and nuns. And this is a big one because it brings a sense of practicality, which is really essential to the Sangha and to what it means to take refuge in the Sangha. Not just in terms of what you can get. So like, the monks are professional Buddhists, so they're going to be very good resources and what you can get from them, what you can learn from them, how you can make use of them. But they're also this point of virtue, meditation, wisdom for you to be generous to, right? For you to offer what you have to sustain the life of monks and nuns, right? To sustain the life of the Buddhist tradition. Okay, so the Sangha, the community of monks and nuns. And that community is open to you as well, right? So you as a supporter and you as a donor, etc., makes you a part of the Sangha. Because you are not just the Sangha is not just the monks and nuns, but it is also the male and female or non-binary, etc., lay people who are supporting the monks and nuns, who are actively involved in this interchange of the full-time practitioners, full-time renunciates, full-time letting goers, and those who can't necessarily be full-time but can support. And so there's that interchange. And then finally, maybe the most clear and workable definition that we can make use of is it's the community of well-minded practitioners. Okay, it is the community of people who are ready to put their cards on the table as it relates to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. That's a good, that's a safe bet. That's a good place to put your cards down and to invest in. But also people who are ready to put their cards on the table as it pertains to virtue, meditation, and insight. Virtue, meditation, and insight. And actually these terms can seem vague, but actually it's exceedingly specific. It's like no self. Can seem vague or general, or like not someone, not some place, not some time. Can seem vague, or it's so general, it's even more general than like cereal. There's all these different kinds of cereal, but actually it's exceedingly specific. It's pointing to reality. So this is the Sangha that we take refuge in. Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And our taking refuge in, our going to for safety and for support, and that going towards that which can be relied upon safely, this is an active process, right? So sometimes you just need to believe in the Buddha, and you need to know that the Buddha is out there, and the Buddha is in you, and the Buddha became enlightened, and the Buddha is with you. That's what you need. So that's how you work with it. The Dhamma, the Buddhist teachings. There's no, every phenomena or something, or other traditions, but the Buddhist teachings, I know I'm safe there. I go to refuge in the Buddhist teachings. And the Sangha. No need to, this meditation group, that meditation group. I go to refuge in the Buddhist monks and nuns. And I know that's not accessible sometimes for people in the West, but if you can take the steps to find that kind of community around you, you might find that that's really, you go for refuge, to the brothers and sisters of Plum Village, right, or the Thich Nhat Hanh Sangha, or the monks who might be in your area, right? So we work with it in an active and developing way. Don't need to overthink it, you need to make use of it. So that is taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Okay, and then we can say, when we do that, we can say, oh, I'm a Buddhist, right? I consider myself to be a Buddhist. A lot of people want to, even like long-term Buddhists will say, or people who are following Buddhism for a long time, you ask them and say, oh no, I'm not a Buddhist. Don't be ridiculous, okay? Is that your couch? Oh no, that's not my couch. Yeah, it's your couch, right? So we put ourselves into a box so that we can take ourselves out truthfully, authentically, naturally. So being a Buddhist is to be used only, experienced only, right? So don't be attached to being a Buddhist, but also don't reject, saying, hey, I'm a Buddhist, I'm following Buddhism. And you don't have to do that, of course. I can also say, no, I'm a monk, I'm a Buddhist priest. I can say I'm not a Buddhist, but that's, it's not necessary to do that. Sometimes there's a lot of ego in that. Okay, and now we're going to move into the precepts, the 5 precepts. Well, actually, we're going to do the 8 precepts in terms of what we chant. So we'll go a little bit over the 5 and the 8. Okay, so firstly, the 5 precepts are like what we follow all the time, what we put on our wall. So maybe some of you have seen like middle-aged women, mothers have on their wall, love is life, right? A cup of, my mom, for example, she has these kinds of things on her wall, or, kind of worse off, has, wine with, I drink wine with dinner, some joking affirmation about, having wine, which is not that lighthearted actually, but anyway, these kinds of things, right? These positive affirmations. So as a Buddhist, you should put on your wall, these 5 precepts. Get it printed out, get it, write them on your wall, do the calligraphy, whatever it is, no problem. All right. Firstly is don't kill. All right, that's pretty self-explanatory. But also, you can use don't kill for don't kill bugs. Don't kill bugs anymore, as much as possible. And then also throw in with don't kill, watching your meat consumption, being aware of your meat consumption. We don't need to go too much into it, but where does most meat come from for modern people? Not a pretty place. So if you're a Buddhist, if you're really concerned with virtue, then you're stepping back from meat consumption, certainly stepping back from processed meats, and you're looking more at vegetarianism. Get a vegetarian cookbook. When you go out for a meal, go to a vegan restaurant or a vegetarian restaurant. It's a good deal, good idea, okay? But the first one is don't kill. Second one is do not steal. All right, we can also say in that don't take what's not offered, and we can also say in that don't snoop. Don't be a paparazzi, right? Don't be buying People magazines, snooping on celebrities or whatever it is. Take care of your own body and mind. Don't take what's not offered. Don't unnecessarily burden yourself with the situations and difficulties of stuff that's not involved with you, right? Don't waste your time. Don't steal. Thirdly, this is maybe the biggest one for most of us. Do not lie or speak harshly. So it's kind of right speech. Do not lie or speak harshly. And this also especially includes do not chit-chat. Do not engage in frivolous talk. Do not waste your time just talking about things frivolously with other people, right? So don't lie, don't speak harshly. That means speak truthfully, speak authentically, do your best in how you speak, and don't waste your time in non-important talking, all right? Number 4, don't commit sexual misconduct. This one's quite open and contemplative. It means be very, very careful with your sexual energy as it relates to mental actions, verbal actions, or physical actions. Okay? Simple. Just be very, very careful about your sexual energy. And you can certainly work to, do some fasting, take some time away from any sexual activity. Can also be a way that you work with your sexual energy in a skillful way. Number 5, and this is also a big one, do not take drugs or intoxicants, especially alcohol. Don't drink alcohol. Okay, don't become intoxicated. This is not talking about medicine. Okay, so if you take medicine, then that's good for you. Work with your doctor and have a good doctor. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, if you start meditating and if you start living in a mindful way, in a compassionate way, you might still need to take that medicine, but you might need to take less of it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So don't kill, don't steal, don't lie or speak harshly, mindful speech. Be very careful with your sexual conduct, and don't take drugs or intoxicants. Don't take substances that intoxicate your mind. So these 5, get them tattooed, right? Get them on your wrist, get them on your wall, get them on your ceiling. Whatever it is that you look at a lot, put it as your phone background. Okay, get 5 precepts. You can set it up. You can have it there. All right. So it's self-explanatory, right? If you do good, you feel good. If you do bad, you feel bad. And if you are just kind of living and acting selfishly, you tend to be mindless, right? It's just like, I want to taste this, it tastes good, and you just lose yourself in desire and fear all the time, right? When we have 5 precepts, or when we value these ethical guidelines for living, not only are we doing good and being good, so we feel good naturally, okay, but also we are bringing a sense of mindfulness to all of our actions through these vows, through these commitments that we have, right, to live skillfully. Now, when we go to a meditation retreat, especially like a Buddhist retreat, we will transition into 8 precepts. So I just want to talk briefly about these 8 precepts, and that's actually what our chanting, or what our recitation will be today, because that's what we're doing here at the temple. And you can just keep these for an hour or a day. It depends on what your situation is, if you can stay with it or not. But it's good to know these as well. Okay, it's quite valuable to know these as well. So firstly, similar to the 5 precepts, no killing, no stealing. Now the sexual conduct precept is no sexual activity. Okay, not telling lies, not using intoxicants. Precept of not eating at inappropriate times. So this is usually translated as, or understood as, not eating afternoon. Okay. Is the connection okay? Is it breaking up at all? Is it clear? Going in and out a little bit? This internet connection is the bane of my existence, whatever that means. Is it a little bit choppy now? It's going in and out, or how about? It's okay. Okay, just chime in. Just chime in if it if it in some way becomes unstable. Okay, so in a meditation retreat or in a meditative day, no sexual activity, not telling lies, not using intoxicants, not eating at inappropriate times, so maybe that's not eating afternoon, but it can also be just very aware of what eating does to you, right? Very aware of the side effects of eating, which tends to be lethargy, tends to be overindulgence in pleasure seeking. So you should be very mindful about eating. And in a meditation retreat, we're trying to spend, all of our time in an aware, awake, meditative state. So we need to be very careful about how we eat. Then there is the precept of refraining from dance, song, music, entertainment, jewelry, fragrances, cosmetic adornments, and self-beautification. So basically we take time where we are not self-indulging and also not participating in entertainments, right? Not participating in those kind of distraction activities, right? Or self-beautifying activities. And then the final one for the 8 is not using high or large beds. So not overly luxuriating, not overly luxuriating in how you sleep. Okay? So that is our talk on the triple gem, the 3 refuges, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then the 8 precepts. Okay, and the 5 precepts especially that we can work with. I think here Nikki put the 5 precepts. Is that right? All right, I can see them. So actually, well, we'll just do the 5 because now we've got it in front of us. So the 5 is what you're more going to follow in your daily life. Okay, hold on here. Okay, are we connected clearly? All right. All right, so Nikki says we should do the 8, so we'll do the 8. It's a little bit more chanting. So, all right, so we're going to start now the chanting portion, and this has some element of almost mysticism to it, because we're using a language that is very foreign from our own, and that means that it can be very interesting. Maybe also we can connect our heart with it a little bit more because it doesn't have all that baggage of our English language, and it's nice to connect with something that has a rich tradition and history. So the way that we're going to do this is call and response. So you can bring your hands together like me, and we will start by chanting Namo Tassa together. So all of us will chant that together, and then we will take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. I'll say one line, and then you repeat it after me. Might be a little bit difficult, but do your best. And then we'll go down into the 8 precepts, and I'll say one line and repeat it after me. And it can be a little bit back and forth. So just focus on the back and forth. You know what you're committing to. So let's try. All right, so Namatassa we chant together. Then we'll go through taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Then we'll go through the 8 precepts, and then we'll say sadhu together 3 times. All right? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now is a call and response. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. A second time. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Third time. Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Now we take the 8th precept. Panatipata viramani. Sikapadam samadhiyami. Adinadana viramani. Sikapadam samadhiyami. Abrahmacharya viramani. Sikapadam samadhiyami. Musavada viramani. Sikapadam samadhiyami. Sura Maraya Maja Pamadatana Ramani Sikapadam samadhiyami. Vikala Bhujana Paramani, Sikabadam Samadhiyami, Nacha, Gita, Vidita, Visuka, Dasana, Mala, Ganda, Vilepana, Dharana, Mandana, Vibhusanatana, Paramani, Sikabadam Samadhiyami, Ucha Sayana, Mahasayana, Varamani, Sikabadam Samadhiyami. This final line is, I undertake these precepts. Imani, Atta, Sikabadani, Samadhiyami. Okay, we can all chant sadhu together. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now I'll ring the bell 3 times, and each time you hear the bell ring, you can make a full bow, a deep bow. Bowing to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and bowing to your commitment to live a virtuous life. Okay? We'll do 3 bows. Okay, dear friends, having taken refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, having made a commitment to live a virtuous, ethical life following precepts, namely 5 precepts, may you be blessed, protected, inspired, and encouraged by that which supports you and by your willingness to support your virtue, your meditation, and your wisdom. May we all be healthy, wealthy, and blessed. Thank you for joining me in this Buddhist journey. And we will now open it up for Dharma exchange. And I think that Dharma exchange is a practice where we get to use our no self-power in interaction. We get to share our experience, we get to share our understanding in a way where confrontation is replaced with collaboration. So, Sonia says that, we need to change things here. Bhante needs to get his stuff together. Wonderful. Great. That's really interesting. Let's share about that. Okay? Or I say, hey, what are you doing? And great. So we learn to use the no self-power by sharing our experience, by being vulnerable, and by bringing up important points of our heart-mind. Okay? And by bringing things up, by feeling that self-sensitivity, we come back to using no self-power. You understand? And it is vulnerable and it is sensitive. And that's where our real transformation, our real healing grows. Now, we're not used to that. We're not used to interacting in that way. Okay? We're used to the self. We're used to being good or bad, right or wrong. Okay? Making a mistake or having a success. This is not the place for that. This is the container where we can break down and cry. Beyond making a mistake. Go beyond being right or wrong. Okay? But we can't really do that unless we step forward. So for me, the Dharma exchange is one of the most vital practices that we can do, where we share our experience as it relates to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, or we share our experience as it relates to meditation or wisdom or our experience. And there's so much power and there's so much wealth and health in that. Okay? People that speak out push for change. They push for collaboration. They push for meeting one another where other people are not willing to meet. Right? So this practice of Dharma exchange is really essential, and it's not just about Buddhism or meditation or our spiritual path, but it's also about our willingness to call out a person or a place or a situation. Okay, of course we need to be careful, but actually we're too used to being careful. We're too used to being shy, right? We're too used to not sharing our point. And in the modern world, in the usual world, that makes a lot of sense because everyone's off the rail. Everyone only knows how to use the self-power, right? Self and other, me and you, good and bad, right and wrong. But here we are concerned with no self-power. We are concerned with ever-new impermanent nature. We are concerned with compassion and healing and growth and giving attention to the tension. And if we aren't willing to do that in whatever way we are able, then our practice will stagnate, our understanding will stagnate, our community will stagnate, okay? And we won't really be able to check in about our wisdom or experience. And also other people won't get to know about where we're coming from, what our experience is, right? There's no blame, there's no shame, there's no higher or lower. We're sharing our experience. And this is the essential practice of Dharma exchange. And in that way, we can challenge each other. But we challenge each other according to, of course, our mutual trust in being compassionate and kind and being ready to take a backward step. If something I said were to hurt you or upset you or be too much, I need to learn from that. But also willing to go forth and willing to use the power of not someone, not some place, not some time, and to kind of interchange with that. Inter-exchange with that. Dharma exchange, sharing experience and asking question and going forth, being vulnerable, being exposed. I tell you, when I first get involved in staying at the meditation center and being in like a vulnerable situation, I made so many mistakes, being in an intentional community. I still do, where I would, speak in a wrong way or act in a wrong way, and cause suffering for myself or for the group. But also, it was my mind where now that I was exposing myself, now that I was being vulnerable, now that I was actually being seen, this ego and this self-power just tries to take control. Oh, there's a real true story going on here. I'm a real true person and a real true story, and this is happening, and that perception is there, and this is going on, that's going on. It's like this living dream that I get trapped in, right? And when that comes up, we want to run. We want to get out of that situation. And when we do that, we don't get to touch the truth of no self. We don't get to touch the truth of ever new and permanent nature in community, which we get to find out, oh, it really is like that. This isn't a spiritual kind of workaround or bypassing, but this is a matter of the truth and relying on the truth, taking refuge in the truth, using the truth of ever new and permanent nature, of not someone, not some place, not some time, not some real true person or real true story. But we don't do that by rejecting our opinions or our experiences or our point of view. We do that by stepping forth, stepping into the fire. So that we can see that the true body, the true mind, the Buddha body, the Buddha mind cannot burn, cannot be destroyed, because it was never born. So for the format of our Dharma Exchange event here together now, I want to invite anyone who's still, maybe watching on YouTube but is a part of our Discord. If you want to hop into the VC room, you can come on in here. All right, you can come on in here and join. And then for everybody who's already here, please feel invited to share your experience, your understanding about this community, about the Dharma, about what have you. Maybe about me. Share your experience. And secondly, to be invited to ask a question either to me or to the group. So it doesn't necessarily need to be just me. And then you can also consider to bring up a point or raise a point of consideration for the group, something maybe we want to look at together or question together. Okay, does that sound fine for everyone? Does that sound good? All right. Sonia, maybe you can start us off, if you'll be so kind, so loving to share with us at the beginning here. I'm sorry, dear, I'm having some trouble to hear you. Is it for anyone else? Yeah, cutting in and out, the connection. Maybe turn off your camera. You can try that. And bring it. Yeah, that's much better. Much better.
I could share that I stopped drinking completely. Difficult for me stopped. Even if I was not drinking a lot, I was drinking every day. Even just one beer, I needed. I was feeling bad not having one beer, but because I was trying to stop for a long time, so for 4 months I was drinking just one beer, and then I stopped completely. So I feel better, much more better, and everything is easier. Meditation and having good thoughts. So I'm very grateful of myself giving me this precious gift, because for I don't know, maybe 20 years I have never stopped something like that, and with the COVID it was very bad. So if we can give some little gift like that to ourselves, it's very good. And you helped me very much here, Bante, with the community. Talking about that makes me realize that important thing. So thank you very much.
And Sonia, I just wanted to share that I really appreciated what how you shared maybe yesterday or the day before, about, kind of us to try more, to put forth more effort to do events that are not just organized by me or facilitated by me, but try to show up for each other in even more ways. I really appreciated that a lot. And also the feedback for the meditation, and how I do meditation, because that's so vital for me, the feedback, right? What's your experience, and what do you notice? And I think kind of the answer to that feedback is that we should to have more events where more people feel comfortable to join regularly, with each other, where we can have that different variety, because there's a lot of wasted time, and we should consider that when we waste time like that, we're missing out. It's not that you're talking about fear of missing out. When you waste time, you're kicking the can down the road, but the can that you're kicking down the road is full of emeralds and sapphires and rubies, Cambodian rubies or something like that. So don't kick it down the road. Come and show up and be in community or volunteer, or reach out and say, what can I do in this space, in this community? It is difficult. It is, like for me to facilitate and to do these events and have this, this state of mind. There's so many supporting conditions, right? Especially now, like being with my Sangha, with my community, my teacher. I mean, there's just so many supportive conditions. Not everybody has that. But if you can use that, other members of the community, if you can use that extra energy that you have to volunteer, or say, hey, I'm going to stream a Dhamma talk at this time, I can definitely do that. It's really good. It's a really good starting point for bigger ways of volunteering and more involved ways of showing up, right? So, I just really appreciated that, Sonia. We all have different things to offer, and we should try to offer them in this space. This is the special space to do it. Whether that's web design, or you have extra time, you know how to use Discord, you have some meditation experience, whatever it is. think also, though, the most essential point that all of us can do, but don't use it as like a cop out, or don't use it as an alternative to volunteering or doing extra, showing up and trying to do more, is just to show up, just to be in the space, just to like when we have people here who show up and are really practicing and are here wholeheartedly, it's such a powerful environment. And just showing up more and more, and finding more ways to show up is everything. Even if you're super tired, just showing up, because, and also sharing your camera like that, we can see each other in a deeper way than we know about, right? When we are opening up our own heart mind, when we are opening up our own deeper side, we are perceiving also the deeper side on very, very subtle levels. And it's not the normal way of being in relationship. It's not, hey, what's your job, and what are your hobbies, and what do you like to do? We're showing up as practitioners, and we're concerning ourselves with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, which is a bigger picture than our self-fixation, our self-involvement.
Hello everyone. Happy to be here with you all today. I think I've spent most of my life trying to run away from my problems. Even to this day, I wake up in the morning and I think, oh God, another day. How can I escape this? What can I do? I checked the Discord and I see all of you support each other, and I know that support is there. I hear Bante in my mind saying good deeds more and more, and it helps. So yeah, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for helping me face my problems instead of running away, trying to escape. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dhamma. And everyone, please know that if you have a deep suffering or you have a deep situation, then it relates to grasping, it relates to attachment. So you don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to leave your home. You don't need to leave your life behind. But if it's not working out, you can go, and I'm here to help you and support you for a place to live, food to eat, teachings, good environment, wholesome environment. Not leaving things behind isn't simple, but it's a lot simpler than staying stuck in suffering and miserableness. So while we may choose to stay inside, don't forget that there's a door to outside, and you are welcome. We have to figure it out, but many opportunity, especially in my teacher's main center in Myanmar, my teacher's main center in Burma. Everyone is welcome there to do good deeds full time, to become a meditator full time, to volunteer full time. And we have other centers as well, but there are avenues to go down, and there is support here for the Sangha, from the Sangha. Okay. How about Greaves? Greaves, would you like to share something? Share about your experience, or tell everyone who are you? What is your true nature? There should be a button kind of shaped like a microphone somewhere. And if you press it, you should be able to speak. It's on, but we can't hear you, so maybe try to get the phone very close to you. Still cannot hear. I wonder what that's about. Huh. Cannot hear you, Greaves. So oh, it might be set to push to talk. That's right. I bet that's what it is. There might be, if you go to the settings, there might be a setting that says something like push to talk or something voice activity. So you might need to change that setting. If you're on the mobile app, I'm not on it right now. I can't look at it, but maybe you can type also, is also okay if you can't figure it out. Or maybe there will be a button to press that will be like a green button that says push to talk, maybe. Okay, so hopefully they will figure that out. Maybe in the meantime, Nicole, would you like to update everyone about the website? Share with everyone some of your updates and what's newly being offered on there?
Sure. So, with the help of Mike, he's not here, but he's like a web developer, so he does back end coding and things like that. We were able to make the website kind of just look and feel a bit more welcoming. So a little about me is I do front end web design as like my job. So I just offered to, fix the website up and make it more welcoming because it's a very welcoming community. And Mike has been so gracious with all of his help with some of the coding because I was telling him that I mainly just do the graphics and the mock-ups and the short code. And he was great with helping with like some of the snippets and things that I just didn't understand. So he's been great in helping put this website together. The first iteration of the website, I also want to say, was made by him. And I think that it's great that he did that because, without that even existing, I wouldn't have been inspired to help further by seeing that. So I thought it was great that he did that. So yeah, we did the website, and it's a community effort. And going from there, there is gonna be a blog-ish section, kind of like the resources, where we're looking to get more people involved in maybe writing some blog posts about some of the teachings, or if Bhante is doing a Dharma talk, maybe we can make a post about that and include some pictures. I think it'd be great to update it with things to entice people to, check out our Discord, but also, look into Buddhism as a whole. So if you guys want to be part of that, I would love some help, writing blog posts. Maybe you're great at photography and you want to share some pictures that are related to, you know, certain things. Um, yeah, I think it'd be great. So this message, if you want to be part of that. I believe that's all I can say about the website. Very grateful. I find a lot of joy in creating, so it was no fuss at all. Great. And then I just want to say, for me right now, I really resonated with the precept of, I think it was, do not eat at inappropriate times, but I personally, I take it in a different way, because I am like vegan and, you know, vegetarian and things like that. But I just the other day I was talking to my dad about, you know, he has like diabetes or something. So I was saying, oh, well, you know, it's not just sugar, it's carbohydrates will turn into sugar. And then for some reason, I just never thought of that. And I just like looked back at everything I was making, and I was like, I'm eating a lot of sugar. So even yesterday, you know, I'm like trying to change that pattern to be more thoughtful of being like, oh, well, you know, if I'm making something, maybe I don't need the extra roll, I can just make it into a salad instead. So I'm just trying to be more mindful with that, because it's just something I never really thought about. And I think living in a Western culture, it's like we don't really think about what makes up our food and like the nutrients. So it was very eye-opening to me to be like, oh, I have to remember that these things break down into sugar, and you know, it's not always the best for your body. So I'm learning, you know, to get better with that. And I think one other thing I want to say is that with that and some other things, I remember recently Bante said, you know, you went through your own hardships and it kind of got you where you are today. And I believe that that was very powerful, because I look at, you know, monks and nuns as like perfect people almost. And it was very moving, because it showed a very human side of even a monk or even a Buddha, where we're all kind of still learning and we're all part of the journey. So it was very inspiring for me, because it's like, I was like, oh, we don't have to be perfect to be, you know, a Buddha. We don't have to be perfect to be a practitioner. We just have to do our best. So I really appreciated you saying that, because I think it was exactly what I needed to hear, and I'm grateful to very much be part of this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nicole, to help with the website. It's wonderful. And I just have a little idea. I don't know if it would be good, but maybe we could do some little testimonial if we have something, because it would be great. Maybe some little testimonial.
Yeah, it's a good idea, right? Yeah, and I think the big thing with this website is really as a kind of non-sectarian, like very high level starting point. And Nicole, this is so wonderful, because you really brought it to that point for people who want to, you know, guided meditations, Dhamma talks, recommended teachers, where do we start? What do we get into? And this is such a great foundation for that. We can to direct people towards that. Yeah, super great. Oh, Sonia, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, I will maybe it could be a good idea, but maybe not. But as you said, we could also maybe have a little page of like ask documenting Buddhism, like. But I don't know if it's a good idea. But like because I like very much Tibetan also Buddhism. That helps me when I was completely desperate, and maybe I don't know if it's a good idea, but we could post maybe a beautiful image from those those imagery from the Tibetan Buddhism that are very, but it's not in the good. It will maybe distract from Zen Buddhism.
Well, there's different areas on the website. So if you have the good image that you think is a special image, you can send to Nicole or talk with them about it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else feel inspired to share or bring something up?
Hello, anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Bante. Hello, everyone. My name is Gregory. I'm half French and half Spanish. I'm ordinate Nakpa in Tibetan tradition. You have two kinds in Tibetan tradition: monks and Nakpa or yogi. It's not the first time I take precepts. I have taken vow in Tibetan Buddhism, but for me it's very important to take a precept with you, Bante. And I practice every time with you is with other Sangha Theravada. And I'm very happy to form part of this family too. And thank you so much to you and everyone.
Okay, Greaves wrote out their experience that they want to share. Greaves said, thank you all for being here. So I've been aware of Plum Village app for a few years now and the Thich Nhat Hanh YouTube before he died, but never known how really to move along the path. Really pleased to have found this space as it is really going to help me. I'm currently going through major life changes and I'm finding things a bit tricky. Reaching for food as comfort, so these precepts will be very useful for me. And particularly Bante today pointing at the no smoking sign in the cafe and staring straight at the camera made me jump and laugh out loud as I was puffing away watching. Oh my goodness. My hope is to join a retreat in Italy next year, so I have a goal to ensure the cigarette and food are controlled. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's great.
Just to add to that, if I may, I quit smoking for the first time ever. Since I was 14, I'm 38 now. That was 6 months ago, and I would encourage you. I've never felt better in my life. I've never felt healthier in my life. So please do. Very rapidly, you will feel much better. Really. Thanks for sharing.
and grieves. My teacher's organization has a temple in southern Italy as well, so you can consider to visit there. It's a little bit in flux because for my teacher, he very famous. You know, this the real meditation master, like a Dalai Lama level master, or you know, in his own vein, like a Thich Nhat Hanh level kind of a social leader and you know, and successful monastic. But he does not have many of the Western follower for a variety of reasons, but especially now because he's so busy for peacemaking and also for the Buddhist activity and social work in his country. So like we have the Italian Tabarwa Center, and we had two center in California, but one now trying to sell, and we have one in LA, but it's not very well taken care of. But the Italy Center is a very, very nice place, but we just don't have the Western people to take care for it. So right now there's only 3 really active Western monastic under my teacher. So that's me and Ciele Kema, who is an Italian nun. She's really wonderful. And maybe in the next couple days or so we can see if she can come and give a talk for us here. Hopefully she can. She's really wonderful. And then one American nun who has been involved with the organization for a while. So we don't really have the people power for the Western side of things to take care and to manage for some of the center. But they are there, especially the Italian center is really, really special. And in Thailand, he has maybe 10 or 12 meditation center, 10 or 12, centers. And then in Myanmar, like more than 100 Tabarwa Center, natural center. And in Tabarwa also have the Dhamma Hospital and refugee center in Thailand and in Myanmar. Okay, anyone else?
Hello, everyone. Nikki. I just want to thank you, Bhante, for allowing us to receive the precepts. Again, I have taken the 5 mindfulness trainings many times and the precepts with you previously, but I always love to have the opportunity to renew my commitment. And it's always wonderful to do that and be reminded of such. With a call to events who are inspiring me to revise or relive, reinvoke, wake up, reawaken events, because I had previously done mindfulness trainings, events discussing them, and community readings of the mindfulness trainings. I would like to continue hosting those as well. And as a side note, I had from the past receipt of the mindfulness trainings, I made a PDF document for the ceremony. And I was thinking, post this? Should I post this in chat now for everyone? But I didn't want to overstep thing because you have made a different ceremony than last time without the Heart Sutra and others. I don't want to overstep and say that it's required, but if you, I have documents available, as I was also happy to post in chat and support as much as I can, because I do truly love the precepts, the mindfulness trainings, the joy that they give me in life, and I'm always happy to share that joy with others. So that is all. Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry, Nikki, about overstepping, because actually we are here on the frontier of Western Buddhism and progressive Buddhism and modern Sangha, right? We are a thriving modern Sangha, and the more people that are ready to step forward, who, we have a mutual understanding and we comfortable to cooperate and to work together, the better. So please don't feel shy to step forward, to try things. That's how we make mistakes, and that's how we have success. And it just keep developing over time, but as that's happening, not to become more rigid or locked in, but more open to practice continuously and try more and more. Because I am a non-sectarian Buddhist monk, and also my teacher, he is more like the emphasis is for doing good deeds, not about someone, not about some place, not about some time. So if we are concerned with the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, if we are concerned with following precept, if we are open to showing our consideration to the Buddhist monks and nuns and to the teachers and the practitioners, we are in a good situation. We can try many things, and we will be ready to adapt and to change and to receive different people, because we are not from the Buddhist culture. So that means that we are making a new Buddhist culture, and the people who are really in the know understand that and accept that, and so we don't need to be shy about the experimentation. Any solidification of the forms that we have, that's going to be quite a far way away. And really the real solid form is the formlessness, right? The real solid form is the sincerity and the willingness to use the power of no self, the willingness to use the authenticity of recognizing impermanence in anything, everything. That's also the interbeing, impermanence and no self. And kind of this flexibility and understanding that, this mental phenomena and that physical phenomena are not going to be satisfactory. So what are we getting so worked up about, so confused about, right? We try. That's it. And we learn the most through our failures. We learn the most by embarrassing ourselves, making a big mistake. And that's when our group says, hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? That's not cool. That's not right. And then you feel that, and it shifts in the heart, not the intellect. Not what we think about it, but it's our heart that changes. And then that's the heart that we continue showing up with and bringing, not this new intellect, this new psychological idea that we bring. It's the heart that we bring. And the intellect and the way of understanding it is just within that heart container, right? Under the umbrella of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, under the umbrella of Sila, Samadhi, Panya, our virtue, our meditation, our wisdom, our insight, so that we are protected, we can continue. Even though it's pouring rain, we can continue. Even it's like there's some great controversy or some great difficulty, we can continue, right? Because it's a matter of the heart, not our judgment, not our stories, not our complicated thinking. Be practical, take care as skillfully as we can, and we should all try to do that. Be as practical as we can, not like this big spiritual idea, but let's put boots on the ground. Let's put pen to paper. Let's show up. Let's volunteer. Let's collaborate and cooperate and protect each other. This is the special thing about the Sangha, is we're here to protect each other. We're here to make sure that we are supported, right? And that's most easily seen with maybe Bhante or the monk, where I don't have a job, so it's like, well, how am I being taken care of? Through generosity, through the Sangha, through the community support. But that notion or that energy it extends to everyone, right? So if a member of our community is in need, we're ready to help in the most practical way, the most direct way. And that means don't be shy to be generous. Okay? If it's inappropriate, then it's inappropriate generosity. And what's wrong with that? There's no it's like, here during the retreat, and also, I made that post recently about ways that people can donate and show support. But here at the retreat, people are giving envelopes to the monk or bringing the donation. There's no wrong time to be generous. There's no wrong time to say, hey, can I offer you a cup of tea? Or can I help you with something? Or here, I think this is valuable. I think this is precious. I want to share this with you. Might be awkward, might be inconvenient, might not go exactly the way you want it to go. But the generosity is like this, there's a wisdom element to it. You're giving away, you're offering out. And when someone comes to say, hey, what are you doing? I'm being generous, right? And if you're really practicing generosity in that way, that wisdom element is there. You're tuned into it. So when it doesn't go how you expect it to go, the wisdom is there, the detachment is there. So please, everyone, be generous. Be too generous with your mental and physical actions, with your body and mind, to follow precept, to meditate, to do good deeds.
Actually, Nikki, I wanted to thank you for posting what you did post when you post. I've never taken the precepts formally before. I've been living in accordance with them for a while now, but I've never had the opportunity, and I really appreciate it today. And that was very helpful and timely when I took them. I was able to take them with more passion and confidence in the moment. So thank you, and thank you all.
Okay. So let's finish here, and we can finish with offering the merit, dedicating the merit. And everyone, please know that my door is open. So, well, it's closed, but if you knock on it, I will open it. Okay. All right. Please repeat after me. May all the merits that we have done till now be dedicated and shared out toward all sentient beings. May all the merits that we have done till now be dedicated and shared out toward all sentient beings. May all the merits that we have done till now be dedicated and shared out toward all sentient beings. May all sentient beings rejoice in our merits. May all sentient beings walk the enlightened way. May we be happy. May we be free. May we be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, beloved Sangha. See you soon.